All right, guys, we're still here in Arizona. We're still on the trail, and I'm here with Mike Hernandez at Fieldcraft Mobility. Mike, thanks for having us out. Thanks for coming to hang out with us.
Thanks for having me, man.
Really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So we were out hitting the trails today, testing the 4Runner, testing to see what its limitations and capabilities are. And so I was out here with Mike. I wanted to talk about Fieldcraft Mobility.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know who you are, you want to introduce yourself and how they can follow you?
Absolutely. So my name is Mike Hernandez. Pretty, like, standard Hispanic name.
Run-of-the-mill generic.
Right.
Yeah.
The third. But yeah, so Mike Hernandez, you can find me at Instagram at mike.a.hernandez and also on YouTube at mike.a.hernandez. Fieldcraft Mobility is a division of Fieldcraft Survival, which is a training company and media. It's a company founded by a 20-year Special Forces veteran named Mike Glover, a good friend of mine. And mobility is one of the pillars of preparedness. So you either have your EDC, your mobility platform or vehicle, or your safe haven, which is your home, and then from there everything stems.
Sure. And why is mobility so important for the average citizen? Like, because we have rigs, right?
Yeah.
So we've got a line of rigs at State 48 Overland. But for the average person, considering everything that's going on in the world and in our society right now, why is mobility so important? And what does that encapsulate? Like, what does that scope cover? Because I think when people think Overland, they think like camping, going on the trails, up in the mountains, living out, with no cell reception.
Right.
But when you talk about mobility, what do you mean? Because we've had this conversation.
Yeah.
But what do you mean for the average person?
So the terminology mobility comes because all of us have to have a mode of transportation, right? And what it is a vehicle-based movement, like we talked about earlier. And that could be just going to the store, right? Getting food, groceries, or it can be a natural disaster. There could be civil unrest. There could be a camping trip, right? I mean, there's so many crossovers for mobility that it just basically encompasses that. It's a vehicle-based movement, whether it's necessity, whether it's fun or recreation, and then we specialize in how do you build a vehicle that will facilitate all of that.
Yeah, so the two things that come to mind, and Mike and I were talking about this earlier, was a few years back, Georgia had that blizzard that came through, and it shut the highway down, and people had to stay in the local Chick-fil-A.
Absolutely.
Right, but if they had a vehicle that was capable, they could get out of there, or at least have what they needed to get through that storm. And then thinking about, most recently, with the civil unrest in big cities, people being trapped or stuck in traffic because they're blocked or whatever's going on, being able to navigate those in a way that protects them and their family to be able to get somewhere else, right?
Absolutely. There's a very, I think it's a famous or popular video during the California fires where they were stuck on the freeway and the fires were coming down. I don't know how fast they were, like 80 miles per hour. I mean, it was pretty quick. Yeah. And some of the people who, like, say, had a Prius or a compact car just simply had to turn around, couldn't, because there was a curb or a fence, right? And how do you overcome those things? And that really is the conversation, right? Yeah. Then from there it goes to, well, do you want to crawl rocks, or do you want to go fast? Yeah. Or do you want to live out of it for an extended amount of time? So yeah, absolutely important.
There's a wide variety.
Yeah.
So speaking of mobility and why it's important, like, because I know we've talked about, like, one of the things that I've gone through training for or attended classes or helped out with is VCQB, so vehicle tactics, right? Yeah. But we were talking earlier, like, having a vehicle is just another tool, right? Yes. So when we think of tactics, we think of fighting, but there is a whole nother tactics that is to get you from one place to another, to keep you and your family safe, to keep you prepared, just to get to a destination, carry what you need with you along the way. So speaking of all that, why don't you walk us through your rig here? Okay. This small little thing, nothing.
My baby.
Nothing big, just something slight. So, absolutely. Yeah, talk us through what you have. Yeah.
Absolutely. So one of the phrases that Mike Glover coins is, your vehicle is an extension of your rucksack. Out there hiking, whatever, but also it is an extension of your home, which is your safe haven. So when we go through that, there's basic preparedness fundamentals that, one, I want to, check in terms of the boxes, but I also want to have a good time. You know what I mean? Sure. That's what we're here for. I have a huge family. You know us, bro. That's how we do it. And that's really the main draw, is to get the kids out, to get the family out, and then learn something while we're out there. So this is my 2020 Jeep Gladiator Rubicon. It's a Stingray. It's pretty dirty right now. I don't know if you can see it. But every build starts with tires, so I determined that I wanted to run 38s, which is what these are, and then we built everything around it.
True bead lock? True
bead lock, yes it is. These are Raceline bead locks. They're 17s, aluminum ring, and then they're wrapped in these Falcon tire MTs that are a 38 1350 R17.
What suspension do you have on there?
So right now I'm running a 4.5-inch Off-Road Evolutions or Evo manufacturing kit. It is running 2.0 Fox shocks, and it's kind of a standard kit. I mean, there's no frills, but it gets the vehicle up to give me that breakover angle and the space to run the 38s.
Yeah. Did you have to do any other additional modifications to run the 38s, or it was pretty straightforward?
I haven't yet, and that's because of some stuff I want to do in the future. Right now, Jeep does have an HD Dana 44, which is what this is, and they claim some really big numbers. So this is probably right at the limit of where I can run factory. So everything's still factory warranted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. What about armor, the front end, recovery?
So if you look at the front end, I have a Genrite off-road aluminum front bumper. It's a little stubby to get over obstacles and have that good approach angle. It's also lightweight because it's aircraft grade aluminum. It's all TIG welded, handmade. And then the inside is reinforced steel.
Okay.
For my Warn Xeon 10S winch. And also you can see in the front bumper there I have an ARB twin outlet for air, and then some lights there that haven't been released yet, but they will be soon.
Yeah. We'll blur those out. So
I think you'll be all right.
talking about air, so you have onboard compressor?
So I have, so the other thing too about this vehicle is because the role I play in terms of courses, or even like my role, my strength is I'm a mechanic, right? So I have redundancies. So I do have an ARB twin because I'll always be able to use it. And then I also have a CO2 tank, which needs to be refilled or yeah,
Gotcha.
So I have both.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Which one do you prefer to use the most?
CO2, man.
CO2?
Yeah.
It's just so fast.
It is, dude.
It is. And you can run power tools off of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You can run so much off of it.
And it really isn't that expensive to refill, man. It's like, what, $12, $13?
Yeah. Yeah, depending on where you live, it varies. I think we can refill in Texas for like $7.
There you go.
Yeah. So talk to me about lights up top, because I see you don't have ditch lights. I didn't see any like specific fogs.
Yeah.
I've heard you talk about these before, and the throw is pretty wide.
Yeah, man. So these are the Pro 6 from KC Highlights. Really great company, 50 years old. Have been doing this since the beginning, the OGs. And what's great about this is I have all the lumens in the center for forward, and then the two lights at the ends also go super wide, so I have a really nice angle up front that I can utilize when it is nighttime. Whether we're racing through the desert or, like I said, I need to identify if there's an issue or anything.
Gotcha. And then talk to me about on the inside. Have you done anything internally to help you? Any kind of mounts in there?
Yeah.
I know we talked comms earlier.
Yeah.
Navigation.
So I have a series of 67 design mounts that carry iPad and my iPhone, and then I have another mount there for a little Bofang radio, in case we need to convoy and have comms, and that's mounted there. But other than that, the way these things come set up, like the backs of the seats have MOLLE on them. There's lots of storage. There's lockable seats.
Yeah.
And then I have a couple of fieldcraft products that I'm actually super glad to have and super proud of. If you guys want to look at those.
Yeah.
I know that you have the visor panel.
Yep, that's right.
And that's a good for basic med. But I also have the Go Light bag on the back of my passenger side.
Yeah, we'll take a look
Absolutely.
at that. And then what do you use navigation-wise? What do you use for navigation if you're out, say in the middle of Utah or
Absolutely.
the deserts of Arizona, the mountains, whatever?
So I do use Gaia. But to be honest with you, I really do like the Apple Maps.
Sure.
I use that a lot. Sometimes I'll use Waze also. But that's why I have an iPad, because I can use even the factory GPS on this that it came with, and then also supplement with my phone or my iPad and do a couple things if I want to see different. They give different pieces of information.
Sure,
you know what I mean?
sure, yeah. There's no one that does it all. You kind of put all the pieces together. I get that. I understand that. So what about the backside? I know there's a lot going on back there. I know we've got rooftop tent. We've got the cover. We got roto packs. So talk to me about what you got going on back there and kind of the thought process behind the method, or the methodology behind it.
So one of the things I love about Jeeps, and yes, this is a Jeep even though it is a truck, is their modularity. Like I have this like OCD, whatever, right? And like, doors come off, top comes off. And I wanted to carry that to the back. So I have a bed rack that bolts in, bolts off, but it carries everything I need, and mission dependent, I can move things around. So the Rebel Off-Road half rack works great for me. On top of that, I have the new hotness from Rome Adventure Co., which is their Vagabond 3-person tent. It's massive though, for us little people.
yeah. So it's like a 6-person tent for us. Yeah. I get that.
And then it has a annex, so it's even like more space for the dogs or whatever. So I really like that. It's all black, so it matches. And then I have, extra fuel. I have an extra carrying case for like tire kits and stuff like that. And then it's recovery. So I have a high lift jack, max tracks on the other side, and then on the inside, it's a couple of like camping things, you know,
Yeah.
like propane I have there, and then I also have that CO2 tank we're talking about mounted to
Sure.
the back. Yeah. The bed is still pretty open because I still like to use it like a truck where I can pull things in and out. So I do have like fridge freezer combo back there. I have a spare tire because I don't have a mount for it yet, and then some tools for now.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What are you running power wise? You doing dual batteries? You have a power setup, power bank? What do you got?
Yeah. So what's interesting about the new Jeeps is they have this like mild hybrid. It's an alternator motor, right? And because of the restrictions for MPG, they have this funky feature where it'll kill itself, and then it'll move even without the motor on because it has that.
Yeah.
Because of that, it has 2 batteries in it already, and then I have an inverter already, and then I actually added power. So from the factory, I just basically piggybacking off the systems it already has.
Gotcha.
So there is power in the back there.
Awesome. So we also have scene lights.
Yep.
Chase lights back there. Any other lights you got hidden? You got rock lights anywhere?
So I don't have them on there yet. I'm in the middle of installing everything, believe it or not. So I do have 8 Cyclones from KC that are mounted. I haven't wired them yet. I got to finish all that stuff. I have rear light out the back. I have scene lights out the sides. And then again, you know, forward low and forward high for when we were in low vis and lots of dust.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah, and it definitely showed out here today.
Right?
We were out driving around. Like, as soon as we got on the trail, I was like,
dang.
I was like, dude, I need to get my chase lights put on right now. Like, can we pull over and put them on right now? Well, thanks for chatting with us, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming out. So if somebody's interested in getting into, you know, they're trying to up their preparedness level and be better about their mobility, where would you recommend they start? Because, you know, not everybody has a 4Runner or a Jeep or a Tacoma, whatever. So maybe they're driving a Honda Civic, or like I used to drive a Chevy Sonic, a little hatchback. Yeah. So what can they do? What steps can they take to help them be better prepared until they can take that next step?
Yeah. So that's, I think, like the question I get, right? You know, I got this, I got that, what do I do? And quite honestly, it just starts with the right mindset. And I think that's like everything, man. You know, you get in there and I notice, something's going on. What do I do next? Yeah. Because a lot of people are just in the iPad and their iPhones, heads down. I don't know what's going on. I don't care about politics, whatever. So that's a good start. If you don't have a 4-wheel drive, which is what I would recommend, start with a good 4-wheel drive. Do the basics, right? Make sure you have a fire extinguisher like we talked about. Yeah. Make sure you have basic med. And then if you have a 4-wheel drive, recovery. And then from there, branch out. Find, you know, Fieldcraft Survival Mobility, Fieldcraft Survival, you know, our pages, my buddies who are involved with me, you know how we're getting out and doing these things.
For sure.
You see the adventures we go on and the stuff that we do.
Yeah, and so, you know, we've been talking a little bit offline. I don't know if we can share it. If we can, I'll cut it out.
Absolutely.
But, you know, be on the lookout for more content coming out.
Absolutely.
And to help you guys be better equipped and better prepared. As Mike, you know, Glover says, that, you know, be better prepared citizens.
Absolutely.
You know, the average than just being prepared. So be on the lookout for that. Go follow Mike, follow Fieldcraft Mobility, sign up for a course. Ton of great information out there. And then you guys have the race coming up, right?
Yeah, so we have a new venture, and it's King of the Hammers.
Yeah.
A lot of times, you and I were talking about this, a lot of times at the end of our gun courses, we like to do a stress shoot to induce, you know, the high heart rate and see if you can perform the tasks while you're doing it, and then time it, right?
Yeah.
So my thought process was this year, being part of mobility is, well, you know what, we practice all these preparedness things, it was a lot of fun. You know, we don't necessarily go too fast, but why don't we test it at high speed and see if the vehicles we build can manage, and 2, how well we do in this race and perform to standard.
Yeah.
So we got King of the Hammers.
Awesome. And for you guys that are shooters, that's just like we talked about earlier. It's just like 3-gunners, right? So 3-gunners tend to break stuff a lot faster because they're so hard on their gear in such a short amount of time. So it's a similar mindset.
Absolutely.
So be on the lookout for that content coming from them. Again, make sure you go follow them, sign up for a course. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, karate chop that bell so you get notified every time we upload a video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.